Today on Let 'em Cook, Red Bull Kumite sets the standard for all FGC events. What does that mean for locals moving forward? What does that mean for online moving forward? What does that mean for getting wings?
And SNK has announced Garu City of the Wolves continuation of the previous entry, and it looks mad good.
And hey, we got to touch on cheaters getting banned, multiple games having issues with anti-cheat and whatnot. Look, there's a whole mess here to talk about.
Salt, spice, and everything hype. These were the ingredients used to create our perfect little cook this evening. Let's go.
All right. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. I'm thinking about the good times. All right.
Hey, welcome to Let 'em Cook. My name is Zaid Tabani.
I'm saying Cola.
And I'm Lumi.
Hey, yo, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a minute since we gathered here. The Street Fighter scene got its first millionaire. Cola's afro got even bigger. My foot doesn't work because apparently I have tendonitis and I am stuck in this infinite loop of not being able to walk every 2 to 3 fucking weeks because that is my current life. How's y'all's life going? Is it going well?
As you mentioned, I'm doing good. My afro looking fantastic and beautiful.
Great. I can't walk.
I'm trying to grow. Guys, what about my afro?
What about your afro?
Guys?
Okay, first off, you have an afro like I have an afro, right? We have like the brown-esque afro.
The brown, yeah.
First off, people will see Cola's afro and be like, respect. People will see our afro and immediately call Homeland Security. There's a significant difference.
I always get randomly selected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, sir, step to the
selected.
side. Step to the side, sir.
Yeah,
pat you down.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah, they're like, Habibi, you come here. You know.
Yeah. I'm Puerto Rican. They like it doesn't need like.
Puerto Rican. They treat.
I'm just racially ambiguous though. It'd be like that.
We're the hear no evil, see no we're the hear no, see no, speak no evil of racially profiled gamers.
Yeah. Oh my. Not wrong. Not wrong.
Every arcade stick we bring is another chance for America to crumble. In
New
some way,
podcast. New podcast.
Yeah, the Homeland Security Bunch. That's the new podcast name. Mm-hmm. Work well for my new
favorite
show.
Enemies. Yeah. All right.
Real talk though, I was so stressed out when I was going to like Evo last year. I was like, what do I do? Like my stick and like I have an Empress for those of you that don't know, and I can actually grab it really quick.
All right.
It looks like this.
The wires and stuff like that? Yeah.
Definitely.
It looks like this.
Definitely.
And so
that was like an
naturally,
80s bomb.
Yes. So naturally, I'm like, what do I do?
I would be so, because I play into that shit because I think it's so ridiculous that people feel that way. Like, because nothing else denotes that. But I would 100% just buy an Empress, go up and start my match. And as soon as I do like a super, just go, Allahu Akbar.
That is messed up. Yo, he said it. I didn't.
It's like, what did he say?
I don't know. I'm praying. This is a really tough match. First off, why is that the first place your mind goes? Okay, because that just means like, oh, God is great, and you're just trying to do it. But the fact that I just say it, people go, whoa,
whoa. Yeah, let's see what the comment section says about that one a little bit later on. Exactly.
Anyway, welcome to Let 'em Cook, our gaming podcast. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's start off with something that just happened. Red Bull Kumite. I think this is an important thing to talk about because we've been talking about for months about the scene needing more locals. We've been talking about the scene needing a better emphasis on storylines when it comes to these kind of events. There was a lot of praise and criticism of Capcom Cup after everything was done, even though the event was spectacular. We had a lot of really amazing matches, a lot of incredible stories that occurred there. But it feels like, especially after this weekend, Red Bull really has nailed the vibe of what these kind of events should be. And it shouldn't be surprising, especially after, the first kind of local back was a Red Bull Kumite, I think in Las Vegas, right? So just wanted to ask you guys very quickly, what do you think of Red Bull Kumite? What do you think the vibe was? How do you think the hosts handled it, especially Rob TV? You crushed. I'm kind of leading the question there, but Rob TV kind of crushed it.
It did.
What do you think overall of that event, and what other FGC events can learn from it, and what the things the event can kind of do better.
Man, it's kind of difficult to say, like, to compare this event to other events, because Red Bull Kumite is its own thing. If you watch it years after years, it becomes its own product. Every single time it's different to different locations, different flavors and things like that. How they structure their battles is completely different. They have random draw for everything. And it makes it so dynamic because of that. And I think there's a lot of things that you can take if you're from like other tournaments, but not too much. Like Red Bull Kumite is its own DNA, right? Like I also think that Red Bull Kumite on a side, the hosts were fantastic. Commentators, everybody was great. Their own personality really shone through that. There were minimal amount of breaks. The action, I will say though, a lot of blowouts, but leading up to and around that action, like the how the hosts handle it and stuff like that, even the gameplay, even though they were blowouts, it was still a fun watch. Like it was still really good. I feel like Red Bull just understands the FGC because they have people in the FGC working that event. But they really understand what the FGC needs, but they have the money to back that up. I think it's
Level Up that does most of the work for that one. Right,
is
like
it
I think
Level
it's
Up?
Jimmy and I think so. Maybe Blue Coast and Level Up. I'm not sure. I know Blue Coast and Level Up do Capcom Cup.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Beef Teki was out there for Kumite.
Yeah, I think Kyobi was out there. Right? Like yeah. So I mean, I think it's them, but just all about. Do you guys like the production? What you guys think of the production wise, like production value and everything?
It was beautiful. I like as a New Yorker myself. That event was fantastic. Just like unapologetically, it had the vibe of, obviously it's the motifs.
I can see
like
the salt on cola when you said New Yorker yourself, and he's like, "Oh, you just wait, Chicago, we coming for that."
Midwest.
Yeah. Wait till Combo Breaker, bro. Let's see.
Okay.
Where's your New York?
Keep that same energy at Combo Breaker. Go on.
I'll see you at Combo Breaker, Cola. I will see you there. But anyways. Basically, like obviously the motifs very sort of like it just fantastic. The graffiti, the cab car that if you lose, you have to go into. They rip up your card in the trash can and you get interviewed, which I think is always hilarious. Like when players get interviewed right after they lose. And the guy's like, what happened?
I love that touch. I love that touch though, because it adds so much personality to the event. I think that's such an important thing that we needed to talk about was like, look, if you look at Capcom Cup and honestly, every other tournament we've had where it's very much so, and I mean, that's important. Tournament first, spectacle second, right?
Correct.
But I think it's come to the point where like the tournament has evolved to this point where it's like, okay, there's a way to run a managed tournament in a great way on time, and you've seen it with like ever since UFGT left the scene, but like Combo Breaker does it well, like a lot of other majors do it well. But that spectacle is still two people at a cabinet just playing, right? Which is fine. And you have the Evo, like the Evo crowd last year was great, but what else can you do to improve the dynamics of this giant spectacle that's happening right now? And I think, the cap thing, the personality of it, it's really, really fun. It makes it more kind of like the wrestling match where it's like, it doesn't really matter, but it does matter. It does mean something. Even when they did the stuff didn't they have a Red Bull Kumite in Jakarta? In South Africa, didn't they? Or
there was one in South Africa that was last year.
Even the way they built up those stories of those players was a service to the players, right? And like we've been talking so much about how that onus on the players in that spectacle really builds this ecosystem because those players are what sell merch. Those players are what sell the game, right? It is so much more about their journey than it is about because the game will sell itself if it looks cool, right? And I think Red Bull really fucking nailed that. They nailed the personality of the commentators. They nailed this party that you wanted to be at and get FOMO when you're not there. And I think that is that should be what our standard of events are. Not necessarily you got to have a cab card at any event and then they get cut up,
right?
But there should be a person. There should be a vibe to the event that makes it feel like this dynamic. Like, oh, so much stuff is happening and it's so fun to keep track of. There are so many stakes at every single point of this. Like, what are we gonna do?
When you see the production sort of like invest in the players, it gets the people that don't even know the players being like, oh, like this is a big deal. Like, who's this guy? You know,
Exactly.
and you start asking questions.
How do we turn this from a fun thing if you like Street Fighter to this cool thing that makes you like Street Fighter, that makes you fall in love with this game, that makes you jump in?
This is easier, I think, for exhibitions, and that's what Red Bull Kumite is, because you already have a focus on the players, you already know who's coming up. But I do think that there are tournaments that have started to acclimate to having thematic things for their tournaments. Like, look at TNS9. Like, it was just something that was born out of, Tong and the crew just having, like, a local event, and it blew up to having, like, a Naruto theme event that was super sick. Yeah.
But the way you guys did that was amazing. But that's, you guys had all of the elements of like building up storylines and building up
having like
point.
the headbands and stuff like that, right?
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
But see, I want to see more of it. Like, see, Otaku does that too as well. I wonder if there's things that bigger tournaments can do. Maybe they can't focus as much as like Red Bull Kumite, because obviously you don't have like the players like in front of them. You don't know who's going to get the top 8, top 16. But if there's certain things that they can maybe focus on even more. Even like First Attack, you go out there, they have a focus of the frog. I think it's Koiki or Koki or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's all part of their merch. Koki. Yeah, the Koki. You're that little sucker when you go outside. And so it becomes a part of the event too as well. So like you also get the vibe of being in PR when you're inside the venue. It's gotten better and better. These events are starting to get better and better about those things, about incorporating the local scene or the fauna and stuff like that. It's just, I want to see more of that reflected in broadcast. And I know it's hard. It's not an easy thing. It's very expensive. And it's harder for a open tournament. But I do hope that they take notice of what Red Bull Kumite does and like take bits. You can't take everything because Red Bull Kumite is its own unique thing, but there are things that every tournament can learn. And I know that other tournaments are looking at this to be like, okay, what can I do to make my experience more inclusive and more entertaining at every turn, like you mentioned?
Well, I mean, I think you also brought up something that was important, is the fact that Red Bull Kumite is an exhibition. And I've been thinking about this a while. I think we do have a pretty big lack of heavy exhibitions.
Yes.
In the way we used to, like, and I mean that in the sense that, like, look, when Street Fighter 4 came out, you had stuff like bar fights and the specialists. I remember the specialists being this big thing that Vi planned. It was essentially just a bunch of people who were playing characters who were like just character specialists, right? Like, and like really, really well-known up-and-coming players in it. And he had people like Vicious there. He had people like, I think he had Alex Myers there. A lot of people made their names at those exhibitions. And I think what's interesting too, especially, is like, exhibitions can set up really interesting scenarios that you won't see at a tournament, right? And tournaments can showcase a lot of talent you won't see at an exhibition, right? Because exhibitions will mainly be people who are invited from, either they're well known or they've made a name for themselves. So like, having that dichotomy of like a reason to watch each one, I think is an important thing. I mean, the reason we like money matches so much is because it is an exhibition with stakes immediately put onto it.
Even if the players are not good, like you'll still watch it.
Oh no, 100. But that should tell you everything. I remember like there was just 2 players I think a while back where it was like, whether or not Rob made fun of it, where like one of them won and was like, "Oh no, man, you keep it. You keep the money and you go follow your dreams." And Rob was like, "How dare you?
Are you sure?
How dare you?" Yeah. So like, I think that's important. Also, like, it also brings up a big question. Like, we had Street Fighter 6 playing in I think Times Square, right, where people were like kind of like commentating and everything like that, and that's great. I think that's wonderful with like famous people doing it. But I think a big thing, and especially because our commentators are so talented, is that you don't need somebody. Like, people are at this point understand that esports is a thing, right? There are people who play this shit for money. And if it seems like an incredible moment with these 2 high, like that's the thing, is like, what if the best people in the world at this shit were playing it? Like, do you want to see this thing at the craziest possible level? Like, people will stop for that, right? If it's just, like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, I don't know why I mentioned him. He's not been famous for 20 years. But if it's like fucking, if Cillian Murphy and fucking Robert Downey Jr. are playing Street Fighter 6, that's great. I'm not really all that interested in that, because it's, I'd rather watch them in Oppenheimer, not like play this game, you know. But like watching people who are the best at this play this, I think that should be delved into more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just like you said before, it's literally just enough to have the best people in the world all gathered together playing this game. It's going to get some heads turning, regardless of whether they play Street Fighter or not, because some people are like, oh, well, I want to see what this is like. I used to play 2 back in the day. Let's see how Street Fighter 6 looks. And then at that point, it's up to the event, production, the gameplay, whatever it is, to really suck you in and sort of like vacuum you into this scene, right?
Also, this game has a fucking have you guys looked at this? The player base is still pretty insane for 6 right now,
especially in Japan.
Like it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, like it grew over the last 3 months, which is kind of wild. Especially after a year or so, you see, you know, the following year, you see fighting games kind of drop.
Even in a couple months, it just happens.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but I also want to point out that like it being Times Square was super sick because. What's the best way to put this is like you have it amongst as you put it, the common people that don't know what Street Fighter is like, and they're able to interact with it. You saw Ryan Hart interacting with people and trying to get people involved. That's one thing that I really liked that they did was they had Ryan Hart on the floor talking to people, interviewing with them, talking about Street Fighter. We haven't had the funny clip of the dude being like, Guile, I played Guile in Third Strike, and Ryan Hart's like, wait, what? He wasn't in there. And the guy told Ryan Hart, of all people, if you don't know Ryan Hart, he's a storied Evo champion, multi-champion, tournament winner. He's been around the scene longer than people who have been playing video games. And the dude told him Guile was in Third Strike. Guile's not in Third Strike. And he told him to look it up. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. Somebody telling Ryan Hart to look up anything is crazy. But I like that Ryan Hart was doing those interviews, talking with people, trying to get them invested in the game, teaching them how to play on modern, classic, whatever it may be. And I do want to say one thing though, in terms of who's playing on that big screen, maybe not Joe Schmo, you know, for their first time isn't always the best every single time, but get the local residents. Maybe they're not like the top tier, but have those local representation.
Oh, that would be great.
Up on the screen. I didn't get to see a lot. I know Defeat Lee was playing, and he's a big rep for the NYC. So like that's great. But I don't know if there was like a continuous flow of those players out there. I didn't get to see.
Well, especially because NYC is such a city where it is, you know, I don't know why it is. Like I feel like like those big cities like NYC and even LA to some extent, right? Like if you know about like the specific kind of interlockings between the boroughs and the different scenes, right? Somebody is from Brooklyn or Bushwick, right? Like that's a big thing. That's its own community, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're from SD or OC or freaking, you know, like Burbank or Gardena. That's a big thing for California. So, you know, having those people up on stage, like you're giving them a gateway of who they have to follow or who they have to watch, right? Because if they like that dude's personality, it attracts on. I do think that it was a good idea to have the event in general. I'm just saying that, like, I think that you don't need to sell this game already more than you are. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like the game is, people now know compared to a year ago that Street Fighter 6 is popping. Like, it's not like we were in Street Fighter 5 where people are like, what the fuck is Street Fighter? People know there's Caleb City sketches about it. There's RDC World sketches about it, right? There's people streaming it on TikTok with tens of thousands of views. That's fucking real, you know? We've had like three to four of some of the biggest fighting games that will ever, like, big entries in these genres come back after Street Fighter 6, and all of them point back to Street Fighter 6, right? Well, a bunch of people played Tekken 8 and then went back to Street Fighter 6. A bunch of people played Mortal Kombat and then went back to Street Fighter, like, and all, it rose all ships. So I don't think you need to constantly explain to people what the cool thing about this game is. They just need to see it in action and be like, oh yeah, that's out. I should check that out. You know, it's on sale. Oh, I'll pick it up. You know what I'm saying?
I was thinking people a reason even more so. Like, you can show that maybe showing them is too much, but give them a reason to stick around. That's what I want people to give them a reason to stick around. You can show somebody Street Fighter, they may play it and they may never think about it again, but give them reasons to stick around. But that's again why I like those events like Red Bull Kumite. I gotta give Capcom a shout out. You know, you see the bills right here. That was a big part, the thematic thing at Capcom Cup. So that was, I'm glad they leaned into it. You saw the safe on the actual stage itself. It wasn't actually for the real money, but still it had like a cool, like, thematic thing. And I hope they push that. I hope for a lot of events leading up, they do something with the city I know, once again, First Attack in Puerto Rico, they work with the travel company out there, so they get all the special stuff when people come through. I want to see something for Combo Breaker if it's possible.
Yeah.
Florida, maybe not Tampa, but Daytona. Tampa.
Yeah, I was going to
Tampa's
say,
okay.
Tampa's okay.
okay.
Florida and Texas are like. Did you hear about Texas today? Texas passed a law today where if they feel anybody is in the country like illegally, they can just like detain you immediately.
Let's not do that. Never mind. Depending on
let's not go to Texas. Texas
let's
is
not go to
fucking
those places.
Yeah.
But in safer spots, maybe that'd be a good idea. Like get a hold of the city and see what you can do. And
that would be I think,
avoiding certain areas.
Yeah. All right. Any final words on Red Bull Kumite and stuff like that, and what we're thinking about?
It's all you, Lumi.
I think personally, this just kind of attests.
Look at you like shirking responsibility of your commentary prowess.
No, you passed it over to me. I got it. I caught the ball.
Okay, go for it.
Let me take it to the end zone. Hold on.
All right, go. Run it.
As obviously, like I said before, as a New Yorker, fantastic event. Just kind of like looking from the outside, this reads like a celebration, regardless of what it was. I love how FGC forward it was. I've seen murmurs online, people constantly sort of like shitting on esports in general and being like, all the production and stuff like that. This felt like a genuine community event with some real money behind it. And that vibe is just unmatched. Personally, I loved it, and I want to see more from Red Bull Kumites. And I'm really excited to see if other events, and I'm even thinking myself, like, how can I improve my events by just stealing from that event? Because the way they produced everything was fantastic, in my opinion.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about City of the Wolves. If you have been living under a rock, or honestly not living under a rock, if you've just been a normal person and have been not indoctrinated into the fighting game fold yet, you may not have heard of Garou, City of the Wolves, one of the most well-known games in the last like 20 to 30 years. You may have heard of Fatal Fury with that good guy Terry Bogard saying, come on, and all those weird English phrases. Are you okay? Of course he's fine. But one of the biggest games that was announced a couple of years ago was a sequel to Garou, Mark of the Wolves, and it was called City of the Wolves. It's Fatal Fury, and it's been in production for a while. SNK games usually don't get a ton of spotlight for a lot of mainstream people, but KOF was a big deal. And it feels like the same thing is happening with Fatal Fury. It feels like it's going to be a big deal. Finally, the trailer dropped, and man, the art style looks poppin'. All of your favorite characters are there. And hey, SNK even spent a little bit more money and got some real honest-to-God English voice actors in there just to kind of localize it and make a big play with it. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for City of the Wolves. I just took a look at it. I don't know if you guys have played any of the Fatal Fury games. What's your take on it? How do you think the game's looking? What do you think the game has potential for? Just overall thoughts.
Garou, I haven't played the original. I do understand sort of its legacy a bit, as well as, more importantly, its characters as well, right? Terry, Bijane, all those characters come from that Fatal Fury franchise. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what SNK just has to offer, because it's been not exactly sure when King of Fighters 15 came out, but it's been a while since SNK has sort of like cooked something completely new. So I'm excited to see what they have going towards this. It looks like they're putting a genuine amount of time and effort into this game, and I want to reward that with my attention personally. I watched a lot of the footage. Shout out to Justin Wong for making a sort of like a review video, kind of going over the mechanics and stuff like that. And it looks interesting. And anything with Just Defend or parries, I'm a sucker for it. So I'm going to at least give it a try.
I'm with you. I'm actually super excited to see this game. I feel like with King of Fighters and how it released, the netcode was good when it worked, but the matchmaking was just not there. And it was like not there for over a year, it felt like, if not more. And, the game was good, but it just, you weren't able to play it online. And so and also I feel like it wasn't really a full package compared to other games, especially like right now. So I hope that this game comes out as a full package. I want everything the other games have, a good training mode, a decent story mode. You know, I know people say it's not important, but it actually is. A decent amount of like things for casual players to get into, easy UI to mess with. And also, can we get like good netcode with good matchmaking and everything working? No dumb lobbies, no pixelated characters moving around. Just let me get to a menu and let me play. All right. None of this goofy, cute shit. Get that out of here.
No chibis,
I just want to play.
No pixels.
No, get that, because it just creates problems. All it does is create problems. Maybe you could have the option to, if you want to, like Street Fighter has, like you know, Tekken has. You can skip all that.
Tekken has.
Yeah, you could just get right into the action. But just skip all that. Just give me the right into the action. Don't do all this. Oh, because it doesn't matter, because Guilty Gear's having issues with that, and I don't want that to happen. I want King of Fighters.
Guilty Gear has had so many issues with that lobby, man.
It is not good. But that's what I want for this game.
Yeah. I think you know what's interesting? I think like a lot of those things, it feels like they're very direct addresses to those. Just the way that this game looks. I think the way this game looks is immediately the first striking thing, right? Is because we've had a couple years of SNK games, like them just trying to be like, hey, we're spending a little bit more money on budget. I'm like, okay, this looks really great. There are a couple wonky things, but we love just the personality and the vibe of it, right? Garou looks beautiful. Like that looks like, whoa, that looks like a next gen game. Holy shit.
It'll hold up for a while, you know?
Like I get the same feeling you get from like, you know, when you would like see Jet Set Radio for the first time, or you see like a really cool, like, you know, when you would like open up like a Tips and Tricks magazine, you see like a screenshot of a game, you're like, what the fuck is this game? What? Like it looks so striking, right? And not to diss Marvel 3. Marvel 3, I remember when it came out, people were like very iffy on the art style because it was so cell shaded, right? This feels like that, but like they nailed it, you know? Like right off the bat.
It has style.
Exactly. And familiar style. Like I see Terry and I see Rock in those moments, right? And then also, like the game just looks fun, like the hit sparks, like the flow of the game. Like when something gets parried, it's everything's so easily identifiable when something is going on in that game.
Yeah.
I do think that like it's going to be a lot more popular than KOF, because KOF you have to pick 3 characters. This you have to pick 1. And it's easier to focus, and it's easier to be like, okay, I can learn Terry. I can learn Rock. I don't have to learn. You probably have to learn a bunch more mechanics, but it's simplified in a way that people who have never played a Fatal Fury or a KOF can be like, oh, okay, I'm picking one guy. It's one-on-one. I understand what it is, right?
Do you think it's going to be more popular than King of Fighters when you also compare it to like the characters that are in King of Fighters? Like from like an overall like spectrum, right? Like the characters in King of Fighters are,
I don't want to be a dick,
Kyo
but like the
that.
coolest characters from King of Fighters are from Fatal Fury. So
Wow.
You're kind of spitting. You're kind of spitting,
Whoa,
actually. I'm not gonna
let's
lie.
be real. Like, oh no, Kyo or Iori.
Iori's
No,
got
fuck
like,
that.
what is he? No, he's
Iori is
bugging.
good. Okay, first I love Kyo.
All right.
I love Iori.
Yeah.
I love those characters, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But listen, if I want to play Panic at the Disco with moon powers, I will listen to a Panic at the Disco album, okay? Or I will go back to KOF 98. Sometimes I just want a guy with a backwards cap who speaks in English with a slightly Japanese accent, which there's nothing wrong with, saying, are you okay? Busta Wolf. And that's all I fucking want, okay? I want somebody to tell me it's predictable. I want characters looking cool as fuck. Like all of the characters in Fatal Fury look fucking cool. It's got you know what? It's interesting. It's got the Street Fighter grime on it, right? Like there's a thing about other SNK games being like everybody's in a suit and tie and very cool and very businesslike. And Fatal Fury is like, motherfucker, we in the streets. We're having a good ass time, right?
They're literally
it feels
in
more
Southtown.
accessible. Exactly.
All right.
There's just a vibe to it.
I can see where you're getting at, but damn, Yashiro, that's my boy from King of Fighters. All right.
Yeah.
I just want to know if that was, because I'm curious to see what's going to happen when that game drops and people don't have as identifiable characters from like what they know from the history of King of Fighters, but the characters like you're pointing out are more grounded, I guess.
But Garou is like loved. Like it's kind of like okay, honestly, it's kind of like Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 4, right? Let's be very real. People who loved Street Fighter 3 loved Ibuki and Makoto and fucking Dudley, right? Like that was one of the things where people, because there was a bunch of new people coming in there, and people were like, nobody really fucked with Street Fighter 3. Like, unlike Street Fighter fans, like people love Balrog, but they don't know about my boy Dudley. Like they don't know about that. And there was this feeling of like, we wish people would see the personality of these characters, right? And so when they got announced for 4, like, oh my God, Capcom's acknowledging this, right? But also the buzz around people who knew what was going on kind of filtered into people who didn't. And they're like, oh, this is really fucking cool. These character designs are really cool. I think reveling in the creativity of this, which it feels like they're trying to lean into with the style and everything like that, is what's going to make this game. I'm looking at it from a perspective, not just an SNK fan, because SNK fans love Goro and they will flock to this, right? I'm looking at this from somebody who's never heard of Fatal Fury because it's a very old franchise, right? Yeah. But at the same time, knows who Terry is and knows that this is for some reason a big deal. Oh, this looks dope, and it's the sequel to something that's been in the works for a while. I gotta play this, you know?
It's an awesome entry point for people like Zed and I that have just haven't taken the plunge to play the Fatal Fury games of past.
Yeah.
And I think this is SNK's chance to really grab a whole new audience. So I'm going to be eyeing this project very closely because I'm curious to see if they cater to those people, if the story mode is more fleshed out because of that and stuff. The last Garo game was how long ago was the last Garo game?
That was like I think around the time Third Strike.
Yeah. Yes. So it's been a very long time. I'm sure people that have played Garo are probably going to need a refresher. So I'm excited.
It feels like the Dreamcast era coming back, dude. It feels like the mid 2000s again with the games we're getting. Yeah, dude. Like it feels very. I'm in a good place with gaming right now. Say for a few things that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but yeah.
Yes, actually, if you guys want to get your final thoughts, and we can move on to that topic.
I'm excited for the game. Can't wait to play it. You mentioned, are they helping people or catering to people from the past? Someone said the feints are in, and that was in the previous game. So it seems even that deep mechanic is still there. I think it's going to be catering to everybody, and it looks cool. Only had a little bit of chance to look at stuff through Justin's videos and stuff like that. But first glance, I'm excited for it. I'll definitely play it.
Very excited. It's gonna. I think it'll be. I want to play a comic book, and it looks like a comic book. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah. Super excited as well. Garo has Geese Howard, so I'm sorry. It just wins for me. That's just how it be. But
damn, that's a good point because I love Beast of Geese, bro. I can't lie.
I love Beast of Geese. I'm so excited. Let's move on to our last topic, and we have a kind of a plethora of stuff to talk about. But some of the biggest things that are going on right now is with cheating, and just in general with stability of games. And let's start off with Apex Legends. So if you didn't know, over the weekend, or I think maybe last week, Apex Legends held this big national competition, and they were immediately, like, all the top players were immediately hacked by someone they don't know, and cheats were enabled on their games. Like, so pretty much imagine you're playing in a tournament or something like that, and somebody hacks the tournament and makes it so that you always have turbo on for your thing so you don't miss a combo. But in this case, like, they have aimbot automatically turned onto their PC. People can access their PC and run programs on it randomly. This was a big match with tons of top players getting hit with this. And they had to postpone that event, and then if we're talking about a stability in general, like also Battlefront released the Battlefront Classic Collection, which is a well-known and storied franchise, as we know, Star Wars Battlefront, to horrible reception as the game was like 5 million gigabytes because they use AI upscaling, which is like, you get really large file sizes, and there was only 3 servers that launched with it, so only a total of 64 players could play online on the first night, ever overall. And then Dragon Ball, and the state of Dragon Ball currently is not looking good with the latest rollback patch, introducing a bunch of glitches and no discernible sight of any fixes to that mode. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on, stability of games, whether it's their online infrastructure, whether it's their development and the way that their install sizes, or whether it's their post patch analysis and kind of petering out near the end. Where do you think we are? What do you think this says about the state of gaming in general? Do you think these are isolated incidents, or do you think they speak to a broader trend? I'm leading with that question, but I think we feel similarly.
I will never blame the developers, because I know that at the end of the day, they are pushed by the publishers to do what they got to do. Time crunches and stuff like that is not their fault. So I'm going to point at the publishers, the people above them. How the fuck do you make a game and you don't let people join in a server? How the fuck you make a game with a big patch that people have been praying for, wanting for rollback, and the spectator don't work, so you can't have any tournaments? How the fuck you let somebody hack into somebody's system and install cheats? I don't know how that works out. Or it just put cheats during a tournament. Lumi, for that last one, please illuminate me, because all this is in terms of like, how does that happen? I feel like if you're a publisher, you have to somewhat know.
Was that on APAC? Because I feel like that was something where they couldn't have necessarily prevented it, or was there an issue that let them kind of hack in like that? Because that seems like a big security flaw, especially in a game like that.
So I can actually explain this. For those of you that don't know, I am a cybersecurity sort of graduate, so I do know quite a bit about this stuff. I'm going to keep it simple though for the audience and make sure that I'm helping you guys out understand this. But essentially, like Zed and Cola said, there was a Apex tournament, Apex Legends tournament. It's a battle royale, very popular. You should look it up sometime. It got hacked during a pro tournament. And for those of you that don't know, it's because of Easy Anti-Cheat. Easy Anti-Cheat has been used in multiple games. It's a very popular developer tool that can be installed and basically rented to, as a sort of like one-size-fits-all solution for cheating in games. Dragon Ball FighterZ uses the same anti-cheat that something like Apex Legends would use, right? Easy Anti-Cheat is the actual name of it. So Easy Anti-Cheat and other anti-cheats, by the way, for those of you that don't know, sometimes will have kernel access to your computer.
That sounds scary because it sounds scary because it's like the brain of your computer, or like the very core of a lot of things that.
Correct. Essentially the core of your operating system. Easy Anti-Cheat has access to that in order to detect said cheats and to mitigate those issues and detect them. However, having access to said kernel as a very core and vital part of your computer, eventually it was going to happen, and it did during this Apex tournament. Someone cracked the code, figured it out, and did some remote execution, essentially, and was able to introduce mods and cheats into this sort of pro tournament live as it happened.
I mean, thank God it wasn't worse where they were just hacking other players and taking information and doing worse things than that.
Right. But for those of you that do know that's most likely, now that sort of this thing's been cracked, these things can happen. So I just, as an overall message, please be aware of the games that you're installing and what anti-cheats they use. This was a big scandal with Valorant when it first got launched. Riot's anti-cheat is also very notorious. It has kernel level access as well. There was also a little bit of a scandal with the Helldivers 2 anti-cheat as well. Just sort of educate yourself about what it has access to, and sort of make a decision when you want to buy a game if that's something you're comfortable with. I'm not saying that you have to scrub your computer, wipe everything, uninstall all those games. I'm not telling you to do that
now. Oof.
But that's I think the issue is there a way to do it to where like it's not kernel level? Like I was watching a Linus Tech Tips thing about like how cheating has become so ubiquitous. And as like, I mean, we were just talking about the Tekken scandal, right? For those of you who don't know, Tekken has had a huge issue with cheaters. Tekken also notoriously does not have a lot of punishments for cheaters that are not, manually implemented. And so, like, Harada and other people have been banning some people who plug, like at the last match and stuff like that. I've received some of those people.
They're everywhere.
But yeah, everyone has. Yeah. But like, even through all of that, with some major people like Low Tier God getting banned, like, there's been issues with the fact that, like, hey, why isn't this more widespread? So, like, if you have cheaters and and if this is the only solution, it feels like a lose-lose situation.
It's not the only solution. I want to butt in really quickly. So it gets a little technical. I want to shout out a particular video that goes over this issue very well by Pirate Software. As a matter of fact, he goes through literally the entire Apex scandal in like an hour-long video. So if you're really interested in that, I highly suggest you check that video out on his channel. But essentially, there are ways that you can detect cheats, like botting and other stuff. And he even goes into how he detected those ways. And it had nothing to do with kernel level access. There was no kernel level access required. So
that's scary.
Yeah. It's sort of, I don't want to say laziness. However, it is a convenient solution to sort of like on the back end, just have an anti-cheat that takes care of, like, let's say 70% of the problem.
That's a whole thing that would fuck development if, like, they have to build their own, and also that could cause more issues building your own anti-cheat system
and a lot of money.
Something that's and a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like, do you think that, I don't know. I think in terms of like the stability of all these games, especially the anti-cheat there, it just feels like maybe that's not necessarily a cut corner. That's a cut corner for easy anti-cheat. I think they need to get their shit together. But I think there's a lot of issues with the Battlefront thing is especially egregious. Like that is an issue that is 100% developer based, I would say. Even though I don't want to blame developers, I think it's probably the publisher that was like, hey, you have $3, make a Battlefront thing
in 3 hours.
Right.
In 3 hours, right? So I don't want to blame them. I'd rather blame EA or whoever published that game for just absolutely missing the mark and not understanding. You need servers, you need to manage it. Like that should have been known. In this day and age, you're not going to get only 64 players.
Yeah.
On the night of.
Why even make a game when, as a publisher, you see it going out? Like, first of all, let's say this, it comes out as it is, right? And it's fucked up. People can't even play the game. They patch it, they fix it a couple weeks later. You've lost so much goodwill in that first week. And there are so many other games coming out. Dragon's Dogma just around the corner on Friday. If y'all don't know, you should pick up that game. It's really cool. But there are plenty of other games that are out right now or that are coming out that are going to just divide the attention. And I don't want to say Star Wars Battlefront, is like a small game, but it's a little bit more niche than, the like Call of Duties and stuff like that. There's a lot of nostalgia for a lot of us, but from a bigger spectrum,
Battlefront, like those games were like beloved games, right?
They were
for like the PSP and the PS2.
But compare that to Call of Duty though, currently, and you have 10 times more Zoomers. There's like one of us that we're beloved with that, right? And so, like, to me, like, you're trying to get like a new generation of players in there that don't know about this game. You feel me? Like, you're trying to get even more than just like the beloved people. Like, we're gonna buy that no matter
it's
what.
Star Wars, dude. It's fucking Star Wars. Like, you're gonna, yeah. Well, I will say this: there's apparently, according to Kotaku, there was a fix that just launched that fixes a lot of issues. Update went live on Steam. Players along with a long list of tweaks and fixes. The devs say that the first update will arrive on consoles once they work through the platform's certification process. Notable issues that are fixed in this update include the split screen controller bug, broken scopes in widescreen resolution. That's fucking ridiculous. That should not happen. Period. Skyboxes with seams in their textures, incorrect loading screen noises in Battlefront, overly loud sound effects, an annoying profile bug. Missing textures on maps on Naboo. That's actually like a big thing. Like if you were like on,
I didn't even know these things were on here.
On Hoth, like the snow planet, you just see apparently textures would load in weird. So you would just get like light green textures randomly in the middle. It looks like you were like on a
grass or
weird like
something?
matrix. Yeah, no, bro. Like you should look up a picture. Believe me, if you can find a picture of it and post it in here, it looked fucking wild. And like the original game, they didn't take the good thing is they didn't take down the original games, which they were updating. They're still on Steam. I think, and the other thing is like the file size for this game is enormous. It is huge. And again, it's because they used an AI upscaler. They didn't actually, like upscale the stuff themselves. They used the most, quick and dirty thing they could. And the file sizes for these textures are enormous.
70 gigabytes.
70
For the game?
gigabytes.
70 gigabytes.
This is a PS2 era game.
Yes. That is
That's
literally like
5 or 6
some
max.
PS2 games could be like 5 megabytes at the most.
Yeah,
Like,
5 gig, probably 5 gigs at the most. I mean, like,
yeah.
I have not a PS2 game, and I have Sonic Adventure 2 that's 2 gigabytes.
Right.
I can run that off a flash drive, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like a flash, like a little like disc, like a. It's crazy to me.
That's like 10 PS2 games crammed together.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Oh my
this kind of
Lord.
just speaks to that relationship that developers and publishers have, right? There's certain things where these I know a lot of us refer to as the people in suits, the people upstairs making the decisions, right? A lot of it is money related, and how much money are they willing to spend on these things? And there was also a rumor about that with fighters as well. Right?
Yeah, there was a rumor that went around that Bandai Namco did not want to pay ArcSys. There was a fraught relationship. There's a rumor. There's a fraught relationship there. ArcSys did not want to continue working on Dragon Ball Fighters because they weren't paid enough. And so development switched to a third-party company to do rollback, and that's why everything's all fucked up because it wasn't implemented well. And like, I mean, that seems believable. I don't want to cast aspersions, but that seems believable with how these publishers work and how this kind of stuff essentially goes. But it is fucking sad because to be honest, honestly, I think everybody who plays Dragon Ball Fighters right now would be fine if they remove rollback and just revert to the game one step back because it broke so much.
It did break
broke
a lot.
so much.
I think they would keep it only because they can play it themselves, but the spectator, you can't run tournaments.
Oh, the spectator's fucked, yeah.
Yeah, spectator's fucked. If you're just playing it normally, besides like the party mode, which is just gone, it's only delay based now.
Yeah.
But like if it's just like you playing and you just want to play the game, you can play it. But I guess there's other issues too. But like I think like
the rollback isn't quality.
It's not. I just why? Just people they beg for so long. This is what they get. You can't even show off the game and show people that you're playing the game.
But even like especially weird. Right now, like especially in a week or two after. I don't want to bring this up, but a week or two after, probably the greatest manga artist or media artist in history, like in modern history, died. This is like Dragon Ball Fighters was included in part of the tributes of like, oh, dude, if you were in the arena when there was the Cell yell at Evo, like, dude, like it is. If you're a cynical piece of shit, it's money. If you're a person with a heart, it's honoring that legacy. It's honoring that community. We're trying to figure out a way to do an intro for Evo, even though I have to pay out of pocket for that, because it's a side tournament. I can't use budget funds for that. Like it's weird to me that like, I don't know, man. Like I feel like industries go through this every so often where it becomes very much so everybody's always like, let's reduce the cost and just move forward. But there's points where they want to maximize the output and fuck quality. And it always hurts them in the end.
Always.
It always ends up in layoffs. It always ends up in people losing their jobs for stupid reasons. And then eventually those people who lost their jobs or the people who care about quality make something dope. And all of these assholes pivot like, oh, yeah, and don't get like, it's so stupid to ruin things like this as time goes on. There's other games. I'm trying to remember. There's another game with a classic collection that just completely, fucking GTA. GTA Classic Collection is destroyed those games. Like they
rain was
Thanos them from
horrible.
existence. And in an
Silent Hill
era where
also?
more and more people are talking about piracy because of this. And I don't think it's like Gabe Newell said, piracy is an access problem. If you have
Correct.
access to something, you will buy it because you don't want to fucking go through piracy. You have to go through like 19 different steps to download a game that may, glitch and corrupt your computer.
It
right?
might be malware.
You'll pay $20
would
to
rather
play the
just-
game.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. So why the fuck are we like? They're there. It's like if you go, okay, people use the car salesman thing. It's like if you go to buy a car, right? And then you can be like, hey, listen, you can buy this Hyundai Ioniq 50, right? With the best EV you will ever buy. But at the same time, the wheels are just like made of lead. So you're going to just eventually get cancer. And there's just a weird homeless guy who stares at you through the window. He won't do anything, but he's just going to stare at you.
Right.
And you're like, that's
too much for
bad.
me.
And then the other one is like, you can get this car with a bomb, but you have to steal it. So like it's a no win situation. This is a horrible metaphor. I just realized midway through I shouldn't have put the homeless guy in there because it makes it
no.
Anyway, fuck it. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's just bad. It's just a no-win situation for anybody, and they will go through the risk of destroying everything because you've made it untenable for them to even do the easiest thing. So,
Right.
yeah.
Just make better products, please. Just for the benefit of you making money as a publisher, for the developers' health, please just make better products when you release them.
Yeah.
If they're updates, if they're just new releases, remakes, make a better product.
People-
And make it safe too as well, so we can just play our games, not be hacked and cheaters and stuff like that. Let's not do that.
People love developers who make it. They form. Blizzard for a while was killing it, and
Yes.
then they weren't.
No.
And you saw the fall off. And whenever they start killing it again, people come back. People love you if you do a good job. Just we're in the stage of support with your dollars. So come on.
And my
All right.
last point for that in particular is just, it's out of your control because obviously you're not a part of the development process or the production process. So just be aware. Just, genuinely, and this goes for any game, especially fighting games, right?
Yeah.
If you can't
Be
make
aware.
an informed buying decision, regardless of whether the game looks pretty,
Mhm.
right? Whether it's brand spanking new, all that stuff. If you can't make an informed buying decision about whether you might like this game or not, then, maybe wait a week.
Just chill.
Maybe not buy it day one is what I'm trying to say.
It's unfortunate that we're there, but I think we're there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyway, that was a good episode. I had a good time.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's good to
It's
finally
good.
get back onto it. Anyway, guys, if you like what you heard, please rate, comment, subscribe to this channel. We got a lot more Let 'em Cook coming up soon. You can catch Freestyle the News. You can catch some of the other things that we do on the Zaid Tabani channel. You can catch Cola. Do you have anything coming up?
Level Up Expo in April, and I got a secret event coming up end of this month. You'll see it on my socials. Just follow me there.
Yeah, I got some Mid Hudson Mayhem is we got some more locals coming up, as well as I might be cooking up some some content of my own.
Ooh.
So if
The
you want to
Lumi
follow
channel.
me, the Lumi channel,
Please. Everybody go
Illuminati.
follow Lumi.
Yeah.
Illuminati. That's horrible.
That's really
Yeah.
good. You're welcome. You're welcome, Lumi.
My name is Zaid Tabani,
I'm saying Cola.
and I'm Lumi.
and we'll talk to y'all soon.